Mukolese la kazina matia, ushlesa na bela kazina kodassa, alabatiso kodishtia matia. So welcome to everybody. We're Soul Family from around the planet, and we're here today in Copenhagen with these lovely representatives of the people of Denmark and other countries actually in Europe standing with me. What I've discovered on this journey is how we're all the same. Doesn't matter what city or country we might come from. We are absolutely all the same, and we just get put down in this life in a certain location, in a certain personality, in a certain body, but we all know each other really, and we are as one. And I think with this capacity now to live stream from Copenhagen, we are really realizing even more that we are one global community of light workers and way showers, and now it's time for us to step up and get ready. And this is what we're going to be doing this afternoon. So thank you to all of you, and there's many people sitting out here in the audience, and there's even more people walking past the windows here. We're at the Royal Danish Library in Copenhagen, which is an absolutely beautiful building called the Black Diamond. And outside there are thousands of people walking in protest over climate change, instigated by a young girl from Sweden. She's only 16, but she has brought all these people together to protest and get something done. So I asked Spirit, do you want to say something about climate change? Because I know that it's a real issue in the world today. We all know this, and we all feel like constrained. You know, so many people want change. They want something done about this urgent issue. So I wanted to see, I'm just handing it over to Spirit and see what they say about it. They say that they are the ones of the inner earth, the watchers within the inner earth, are powerfully protesting. They say that there are those that have been trying to bring this issue of misuse of Earth's resources and misuse of Earth's energy to human consciousness for many years now, probably for about 60 or 70 years. And no one has really been listening. When they say no one, they mean no one who can make a difference has been really listening and taking action on this. And so they are impressed, and they are wanting they say the youth of the world will take action, because the young people of this planet can see how their beautiful earth is being damaged, and the legacy that they stand to inherit from the earth is being tampered with. And really, they say, Spirit, they say that it comes down to grassroots. It comes down to the ecological actions that are needing to be taken by every individual, and how every person needs to understand that the earth is a vibrating, living being, not animate like we are, like they can't speak, but the earth has vibration, the earth has frequency, the earth has life force, and the life force of the earth is being increasingly drained by misuse. And of course, this misuse is being reflected into the atmosphere, because just like we release karmic miasmic trauma, so the earth is releasing karmic miasmic trauma into our atmosphere. And if you add to that mix with chemtrails, pollution into the atmosphere, pollution of chemicals, pollution of energy, pollution of, dare I say it, 5G, those misunderstandings of how to maintain the really needed and necessary balances of life. This is what is needing to be brought out, and well done, all these people marching past this window here who understand this and want to see change happen. Because until we really and truly understand that this is an energy issue that needs to be, they say, Spirit saying, that needs to be urgently addressed now, urgently addressed, this energy issue. They say that there are safeguards in place to ensure that the earth is protected. However, it's not easy to live on the earth when there is so much damage to Earth's environment. and damage to Earth's energies. And it's not only that, it's like we're killing ourselves. We're dying a slow death by the energy pollution that is beaming at us every day on this planet. And 5G is making it worse. And it is all very well to say, yes, I can wear an energy protector to protect my energy field. But what about all the children and all the people who don't understand this? What is it doing to those people and those young minds and those young energy fields that might not even show anything for 20 or 30 years? The damage is done. You know, we all know people who have been damaged by electromagnetic fields. You all will know this. I know somebody who worked in a restaurant who stood preparing food in front of a microwave oven for 2 or 3 years and then developed a brain tumour at the age of 22. So we all know these people, and we all, when we get to understand their story, we get to understand how important it is that we address this and how people are, the people in charge need to who are misdirected with their energy and seeing this situation purely for material gain, need to be understanding of the severe cost to human life and to the energy field and the resources and the life force of Mother Earth herself. And that's all they really want to say right now. But I think we've all got the message. And so each individual, each one of us really needs to be authentically truthful and stand up for what we believe. And then when we reach a tipping point of consciousness and a tipping point of protest, then change happens. We take the peaceful process of Mahatma Gandhi in India all those years ago. Change happened in India because he kept going, and he was a way shower, wasn't he? He showed the way. The young girl who started this protest in this march, only 16, she's showing the way. But we all show the way in our different ways. But what it really takes is the courage to be true to the conviction, and the courage and the strength to all band together as one. Because in the oneness, nothing cannot happen. It's like when we band together in oneness, change happens. When we try to do it in isolation, change doesn't happen in the same way because the momentum of the energy doesn't gather force enough. And it is easy to knock one person over, as they have done with Julian Assange. You know, one person can be knocked over, but many people can't be. See? So this is what spirits say: join together as one, co-create as one. In the oneness, the force is strong. And they're sort of laughing here, and they say, may the force be with you. May the force be with you. And so, may the force be with you. And so they're giving us the force now. They're saying, okay, we're going to amp up your force to create change. Here. So just take it in. May the force be with you.
Shlokusi nabalakuso lakasidia. Oklabedi sada sada bedaki. Okoti sada kushta sada bedaka. Lokochta sada bedaka bedaki. Okolakis sada bedaki. Ashtas sakudas saka. Okolokosid justada belaka bedaka bedaki. Okolakas sadaki mati.
You feel stronger? And may the force be with us all.
Shlakusada kalabasida sabadaki, akalakasida kazabedakazadaka, Ishtas la balasa, the balaya, Ishtas la badakazedakazedakazedakashtia.
Because there is a very defined divine plan to all this. We are being supported by many beings, they're mainly unseen, but that's only unseen because our eyes can't perceive them into their dimensions at this time. But as our human selves change and adapt, we will probably be able to see these beings of light around us much more. The only time I've ever seen beings of light visibly with my naked eye. This is one of the things I've just had to trust, because I feel the energy and I'm good with the clairvoyance, but I'm not good. I'm good with the clairaudience, but I'm not good with the clairvoyance. So I don't see like a lot of people can see, which has been a good thing and a bad thing. Sometimes it's probably been a good thing, because if I was able to see, I'd probably be completely overwhelmed by what I'm seeing. You see, and I wouldn't be able to concentrate on what I'm doing. But clairaudiently, I can hear really well, you see. So years ago, though, I did Vipassana meditation. This is going back to 1998. And Vipassana meditation is where you meditate for 10 days in silence. So my mind was really still at the end of the 10-day period. And when I went out on the Sunday, 10 days later, I had to go directly to my energy healing class, because I trained for 3 years in auric healing in the human energy field. And when I got to the class, people were already standing doing healing work, lying, around massage tables. And at that day, I could see very clearly very tall beings of light standing around each massage table working through the people, you see. Very, very clearly. In fact, I sat there. I wasn't able to do anything for about half an hour, because I just sat there completely blown away by what I could see, because you get told these things, but there I was literally seeing it. You see, I could see. And these beings of light, they were about that high. Like, they were very tall. They weren't like us. And they were very long and thin. They looked different. They could have been Arcturian, because I realise now that the Arcturians are very tall and their eyes are sort of like that, upturned. And they're colour-coded, so their vibratory state, their colour reflects their vibratory state. So what we want to do now is we want to talk about way showing and what that might mean for us in the future. But as we do this, it's good if you can just completely relax and hear it as a story. So that they listen through the ears of the heart to the story. And if you feel to close your eyes, then just close your eyes. So we're going right back to the beginning. And we're going back to the beginning of life before we came into life. Now, what this really means is that we're going back to the time when we were not even separated from God or oneness. So if you could just imagine that you are part of the one, you're part of this energy of all that is that we call God. Mishle kose da malaki setish don la welu. Modeste de kise me de gola sela kushtiksi. Akala kasi de kazamedish don la malakotsisi. Amalako seta kasi de kasi de kasi de kasi de kasi de kasi de ki. Matia. And what actually happened is that in this creation of this soul that we are, what was originally created was a soul group or a monad. The monad is the pure energy note that comes with our soul in all of its incarnations. And some monads are created to be of service. Some monads are created to learn certain things. Some monads are created for a certain response or action, which tends to follow through all of the lifetimes of the soul beings within that monad. And it's said that there are 144 soul extensions in each monad or soul grouping of souls. But if you go right back to the oneness, all of that soul group of the 144 are all of the same source, you see. All of the same source. Twin flames are aspects of the same soul that has been split into probably male and female mainly, but aspects of the same soul that are polarized sometimes, and maybe they might come together in this dimension on the earth, or maybe they might not. So a soul group is different from a twin flame. Twin flame is closer to us. And so when we come into physical life, when we came into physical life, it was probably way back before the earth was Tara. It's hard to know. It may not have been even in this galaxy. It may have been in some other place. So just get an impression now of your particular soul group and where it may have originated and where your soul may have begun to express itself in a physical form, not necessarily human.
Shlokuisa lokuisashtiki. Akokakiliki sadakaza medakaza dokaza nomishtasa. Meko lokusidikisi pisokuzinasi. Akakiliki sedisadabalaka. Akolakazi de kazabalakoya. Akalabadi sadabadakaza nabalakusolaksi. Akalakazi de kazabidikazi de kiza da kaza da garabadishtanuki. Aka, 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 aka.
And there may have been a specific tonal quality, a specific vibratory energy that your soul, along with your monad, also began to walk through or incarnate through, almost like a soul direction or a monad direction. So just ask what your particular monad direction is all about.
Mukushile sasa kudia. I'm a la costa de ki. A la casa de casa de casa de casa de casa de ki. A la casa de casa de casa de ki. A la casa de casa de casa de ki. A la casa kushto si. Shishi to kote de shida kote de. Shela kote de shida da kote de. Shisa koda kaza de kote da de. Akalakaz the key.
Having maybe gained some impression about what your overall soul or monad purpose may be, it may become easier to see how that overall purpose fits into this current human lifetime. Because that purpose follows us. It's part of our monad. It's part of our expanded soul through all time. And when we meet people from that same monad in this life, they're probably a little like us because they also exemplify and personify that overall purpose, you see? So on one level, you could say that we know them, even though we haven't met them in this current life. We might have had other lifetimes with them as souls on the earth, or maybe not on the earth. Very likely, because we all have a similar purpose. So it's likely that we may have been incarnated together to anchor that purpose, you see. Now, what happened in the dim, distant past, on a soul level and on a monad level, is that we began to gather in wisdom that might support the overall purpose of the monad. And because there are 22 galaxies operating together as one expanded God creation matrix in the cosmos, in the heavens, we may have had lifetimes of experience on one or more of these galaxies because they together, all of the 22, including this Milky Way galaxy, also create an energetic oneness or matrix. So it's likely that we've had lifetimes in other galaxies, not looking human. So let's just maybe gain an impression of the most significant lifetime related to this lifetime that you may have had in another galaxy, star system.
Shloki sada beliki sishte suksi. Akalabadisha jana sada belakasisi. Akalabadisha sazamalakazvedakasa. Alabalashisha sada belakasa. Alabarisha sakalabadakasa de belkisa. Alapalgolasi de belasokudi. Mekalakisi de stonna belakisisia. Akalakazi de kisatia, mashtasa. Amalakazi de kasi de kasi de kasiti. Alakazi de kasi de kasi de kasiti. Alabalakushtonna belakoza de si mati.
And you might not receive visual images, you might. Or you might just feel energy. So today, in this lifetime today, in this human lifetime, we are needing to access knowledge, wisdom, knowing that we have had access to, known if you like, in other lifetimes on these other galaxies of the 22, so the other 21. If we've had lifetimes there, if we've had lifetimes there, then we'll be able to access it. If we haven't had lifetimes there as part of our soul purpose or our monad purpose, then we won't be able to access it. So just let whatever happens, happens there. But we're just going to access and pull into the soul's repertoire of knowledge, wisdom, from these times and these places now. It's going to be a lot of energy to anchor this.
Shlakosia de Balakada la la son of Balaksa. Adabakada soul of Balasa de Balasa. Adabakada sort of Balakadi. Adabakada Mesto Labara. Adabakada Alala Sadabadi. Alabala Sabala Sedadi. Alabala Sedabala Sedadi. Akalabaki. Alabakada Sadabalakadi. Akalasa. Porque they said is done, Malaki said a guia. Akalabaka the Bedi Sakulisi. Akalabaka sat with the Sadabaka. Akakalaka tiki the Kazabelaka Zata Kodadi. Akalabaki, Aka the Bedisia. Akalabaka Sadabakadi. Akataka Takodata without by duty to Badaki. Adabaka. I soul of a key. Aesthetic sabbatic key. A class C.
And because each of these 22 galaxies has its own different tonal signature, it's a bit like an energy name, if you like. We're going to work with different tonal frequencies from all of the 22 to anchor in knowledge, but to anchor that energy closer to us.
Shloki sa to the balaka. Alakot to
Take a deep breath. And now we come forward, probably in time, to lifetimes within this Milky Way galaxy. In physical form, not necessarily human form, but physical form. And to come into these 12-dimensional worlds of what's called the lower heavens in this Milky Way galaxy, which is dimensions really 1 to 12. 1 is really within the earth. We all came as souls through a stargate, the stargate of Lyra. Lyra is 12-dimensional, so we all came as souls, as pure, beautiful consciousness, through this stargate, this portal, this gateway, into Lyra. And in that first Lyran life, we lived on Lyra, you see. So when we ask the question, where did I come from? You could say, we all come from many, many, many places. But when we say, where did we come from, or where did you come from before you came to Earth, then the answer could be Sirius, or Arcturus, or Pleiades, usually. Okay. Sometimes outside of this galaxy. What I notice now with many people, particularly younger people, is that those souls are coming straight from another galaxy or straight from another star system within this galaxy, and they haven't had earthly lives before. And that's why it's particularly difficult for some young people to adapt to life on Earth, because it's so foreign to their frequency of what they know. Those of us who've had many lifetimes on Earth, like hundreds if not thousands of lifetimes, we can do it more easily, you see. But the souls who are coming in now, particularly since the year 2000, some of them find it really, really, really hard because they are up against the consciousness and the conditioning of the way people think it should be. But these are very advanced beings, and they need to be respected and treated differently and understood. And for some of you who are listening today and here in this room in Copenhagen, that may be your purpose, to help the children of the earth, the new children of the earth, understand why they're here and who they really are. It's very important because in 20, 30 years' time, these are the change makers. They are the way showers of the next phase, you see. We're the way showers of this phase, but those children are the way showers of the next phase, and they need to be prepared and they need to be nurtured and they need to be understood, because their nervous system, their mental development, their nervous system, their endocrine system, it's fragile. It's more fragile than ours, you know, and they need to be supported. So going back to us, we came through the Stargate of Lyra, had this first lifetime or series of lifetimes on Lyra, and then chose to step down through different star systems and places within this Milky Way. Many of us put up our hand on a soul level, if you like, or we might have been living on Sirius at that time like I was. I was the being in the book there, Issa-Enya. That's my story. But when you read the story of Issa-Enya, many people also feel it's their story, because really Spirit have written it because it's the story of all of us. You see? It's the story of all of us, because we were on Sirius, Pleiades, whatever, and we chose deliberately to let go of those Sirenial Pleiadian bodies and begin a whole cycle of lifetimes on planet Earth, precisely so that we could take on the human DNA, because the human DNA is the most advanced within this galaxy. We were genetically engineered as divine beings, avatar beings. You've seen the movie Avatar? We are avatars. We are avatars remembering that we are avatars. We are avatars reawakening to the capacity to be avatars. And the way that we're being awakened is because the Earth's gone through and still going through an ascension cycle, which is about soul expansion. It's about expansion. And we are remembering who we are. And as the energy from beyond the beyond, from the heart of this 22 galaxy multigalactic diamond of God creation is streaming into the Earth and all of the planets and star systems within this galaxy, the true capacity within our human DNA code is being activated to express. It's not junk DNA. It does have a reason for being, of course. It just couldn't be activated to express that reason for being until now. But now, over the next 13 years, it's a very powerful wave of accelerated ascension. And the way showers, the ones who understand this process and have done a lot of the work to clear consciousness and to clear the stuck, distorted energy which is locked away within all human beings, we're being made ready to receive this energy more cleanly and clearly, you see, so that it can do its work, which is to switch on aspects of our own human potential in a way that has not been possible before, because it wasn't possible because the Earth wasn't vibrating fast enough, you see, and it wasn't also the divine time. And the Stargate of Aldebaran, which opened in 2013, wasn't open. See, so for all of these long cycles, these 4 cycles of roughly 26,000 years since the human being was originally created, there's been ups and downs and forward march and regression, and the last 6,000 years of this last great age, this last 26,000 year cycle approximately, it has been like the winter of the winter. You understand? And we all know what the winter's like. You know, the winter's cold, the winter's dark. You want to sort of just hibernate in the winter. So this last 6,000 years of this cycle was a time of hibernation, a time of closing down, really, of getting ready for the new springtime. And in the new springtime, which has begun, it really began in about 1987. But if we go back about 500 years, you could say that it really began then. See? And 500 years ago, life began to blossom. You know, societies, communities began to change and blossom. And it wasn't that people were any smarter necessarily, but they put life together differently. And they started to evolve their communities and their societies. See? And then there was the Renaissance, art, writing, literature, knowledge. People began to live differently. You know, they began to create. And then we see, you know, in the 20th century, the incredible advances that were there in the 20th century. When my grandfather was born in 1892, people just used to drive horses and cars. There was no radio, no television, no phones, no nothing that we take for granted today. And yet when he died in the 1980s, there were aeroplanes, there were, you know, they'd even flown to the moon, right? So look at the incredible change in that one lifetime. Now we can see the changes becoming exponential. We can't keep up with the changes in technology, most of us. The young kids seem to be able to, but boy, I can't. So, but we can't, it's so fast today, isn't it? Since the year 2000, so fast, so many changes. And some of these changes are good and some of these changes are not so good. But as if we become and step into the courage to be the way showers that we truly are meant to be, and we band together as one, like this march here today in Copenhagen about climate change, we can create miracles. We can do it, okay? It's when we get afraid and we sit on our hands and we don't act, that's when nothing happens. But you see, there's a force, an incredible force for change in people banding together. We know that. And the internet age has really helped, because nobody can fudge it sitting over in some other country, because everybody knows immediately, because it's live streamed. You know, it's live streamed on someone's cell phone. So we are all needing to be, we're all being woken up and made more accountable for our actions now. And this is a wonderful thing, actually, because this is going to create people coming together in unity communities, united communities all over the world to create global change, isn't it? So if we go back to the story that I began to tell you, and it was the story about how we got to Earth in the first place, probably for most of us around 100,000 years ago, some a bit closer than this. Some of you, 2 or 3 people I think in this room, may be quite new to Earth, and I think you will know who you are, that you feel maybe a bit of a misfit at times and you feel out on a limb and you might not feel that you really fit in here, but you do more than you know, because without you, your particular frequency of energy wouldn't be anchored here on the planet. So it's important to know this. It's important for us all to know that really if we go back far enough, we are all one. So what Spirit wants to do now is to do a oneness connection and meditation. So I want you just to sit with your eyes shut or your eyes open. This is about connecting all the little lights around the planet together as one to create a global force for change and way showing.
Shlakusina malakusea. Akokalaki sadisala malaka. Akalakaze de kazaba de kadasastia. A malakaze de kasit kiss it kiss it key. Alakada de kasit kiss it kiss it kiss it key. Alamalakaze de kiss it kiss it kiss it key. Alamalaki. Alamalaki. Zalabalakuston malako. I made deal the badaba with the sadabaki. Akazala casata cosata key.
So if you feel a bit of discomfort as I speak these words, don't be concerned. It's just limitation energy, leaving, being forced to leave, really.
Mishla cosetta sabadakara, a mishta salabadaka, a mishta salabadaka zebaki. Alada da go go da did da 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 go 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 da go da da go da 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 da. Alako da da go da da go da 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 da. Akasitia. Akasitia, 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 Akasidikosia. And my day stood about a casalabaki. Akalaki said that Sabadagoda by baby Dabadikudaba dear. I made a cassette, the cousin, the keys, the keys, the keys, the keys, the keys, the keys, the key.
And just take a deep breath and just see yourself rising up like a beautiful lotus rising up through the water of the muddy lake. Just see yourself rising up and getting really strong, standing in your power, standing in your strength. Just see yourself.
Milko the keys, the lucky, the duckishtas, Salabalaka, the Dabadakazadakazadakazadishta, Alamalaka, the Kaz, the keys, the Kiaka.
And just say to yourself, with the power of God that I am, I can do it. With the power of God that I am, I can do it. With the power of God that I am, I can do it.
Mukula kish la casa de Badakisadia, a la casa de Badakazamadi, a shilak costa de Balakizamalazi, a said to kush the Sabadagabadaki, a kalakata tasset casa de casa de Badaki, a la casa de casa de casa de key, a la casa de casa de casa de key, Meshtazalabadaki, Mati, 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 Mati.
We all have our human challenges. So when you get home or later today, write a list of your human challenges that you're facing at this time. Just like this. You might write, I want to have a new home or whatever. Say that's one of the challenges that you face. I want to have a new home. And I want it to have these qualities. So you just list the qualities. Give this a bit of thought too. Really feel it. You might want to do it over a period of about 3 days where you just sit in meditation and really feel the correct answer to each of these things that you want to change and create in your life. All these things will make you be a better way shower, won't they? So it's not wrong to ask for what you want to receive, because it's going to make you more capable to do what you've come to do as a soul. So you just write, I want to blah, 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 and spend probably 3 days just sitting in meditation with each of these questions and really feeling. Maybe you might want to hit up a page of your notebook with each of the things that you want, and over the 3 days, really feel and brainstorm with your heart, you see? Not brainstorm with your head, brainstorm with your heart. Feel, speak the words aloud of what you want to create, and then just feel what this might look for you, and just make any little notes on that one page. Okay? It's probably good to only work with 3 things at a time, otherwise it's a bit unwieldy. And after the end of the 3 days of what you want to create, write your mission statement for creation. So you look at the page where you might have written, I want a new home, and you might have got all these things written down that came from your heart about what your new home should have. So don't let it come from your head about, I need to live in this suburb of Copenhagen or whatever. feel it from your heart, because the universe might have something even more magical and exciting in store than you even know. So you can't limit it by saying a specific defined thing. Just get the energy components of it right, you see. So then after 3 days, you take that page of I want to create a new home and you write on a new piece of paper or a new page in your diary a mission statement related to all the components of energy that your heart brought forward. It might go like this, something like this. And you start it with the power of God that I am. You see, because it takes you into the creation energies of your I am presence. With the power of God that I am. I draw to me. Or you can say I draw to me, or you can say I create, or I manifest, whatever words you want that are good for you. A beautiful home that has these, that is maybe full of colour, full of music, light-filled, in a beautiful location near the sea. Whatever it is that you feel you want in your home, you see. So you're taking the voice of the heart and you're beginning to write down what the voice of the heart is actually saying so that it can be materialized. Because what often happens to us as people is that we have this vague feeling of what we want, but we never quite get it because we never actually distill it enough into really knowing what we want. But if you allow yourself the 3 days of playing with it, feeling, and at the end of the 3 days, maybe on the 4th day or the 5th day, give it maybe 5 days, then create the mission statements when your heart has had a chance to really feel it. So remember, this is not about using the head in these 3 days at all. It's not about thinking anything. It's about feeling and only writing down what the heart is feeling, not what your head might say. Because you can see if you start to do it on the first day, you might have a cup of tea and you say, right, I'm going to write down all the things I want in a house. You're not really doing it from the right place because the heart's a bit shy, really. The heart doesn't quite like to say it because the head always tends to overrule. So we have to practice feeling what the heart says. And whatever the heart says is right. You could actually put your hand on your heart to do this, and the little notebook in front of you and the pen by your side. And if the heart says, oh, I want peace and beauty in my house, then write down peace and beauty on your page. And then on the 4th, maybe the 5th day, because I think it's good to allow a break, then you write down your little statement. And then you begin to be the creator that we all can be, meant to be, and have the ability to be. And with these 3 little statements of what we want to create, we begin to energize it, like give it energy. So every morning when you wake up, you might make a nice cup of tea or coffee and you just open your notebook and you feel into this incredibly beautiful creation energy that you've written. You could actually put it on 3 pieces of paper if you want to, and decorate the paper according to the energy of what you're trying to create. It's up to you. Sometimes that can give it more energy, but you don't have to do that. And then you just speak the words, with the power of God that I am, I create, I manifest, however you've written your statement. And just feel it. And so it is, you see. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to actually run some energy through the heart and the mind. It's to allow the mind to get out of the way and the heart to come forward. And when you listen to this energy track again, it's going to make it easier to manifest because the heart's voice is going to be doing the attracting and not the head. So let's just do this now. This is just running energy through.
Shlakushliesana balakasidako. Akoko likisa da kazida 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 ko. Akala kazi the key. Akala kazi the key. Akala bada kazi the key. Akala kuj la kazi the key. Akala kazi the key. Akala kazi the key. Akala bada goji the kazi and malahish the kazi the key. Ashidakazi the key. Alakazi the key. And I think what would be really good for us to do for the Ascension Library is to isolate the instructions and isolate the sound so that we can use this little technique more easily without having to listen through the whole program. Okay. Shlakoshi de Sadbalaka Sedabadaka. Akalabada Sedabadaka. Akala kazi the key. Ala kazi the key. Akala keys the key.
So this is like energizing purpose as well. It's at the moment it's energizing things that we want to create and bring into our lives so that we can do our purpose better. But it will also help you to energize your purpose. So if you know your purpose, you could also write a purpose statement exactly in the same way by saying, with the power of God that I am. But remember, you might not fully know your purpose yet. So do the 3 days of what you want to bring into your life, your human life. Practice that for 2 or 3 weeks and then work with the purpose. See, the purpose you're going to work with and tune into in exactly the same way by, for 3 days, asking the question, how can I best step into my purpose? How can I best fulfill my soul purpose in this lifetime on earth? You see? Feel into this with the heart exactly the same as we did it with the things that we want to create. And on the 5th day, write the purpose statement based on what we get every day with our tuning into the heart. Okay? Now what we're going to do is going to record a separate soundtrack, audio track, which is particularly to do with activating purpose. So sometimes as people, we get really hung up and confused, usually for 2 reasons. One is that sometimes we don't know what our purpose is clearly. And the thing is, what often happens to us as people is that the purpose evolves. So what you might think your purpose was 5 years ago and you merrily started walking along that path, very happily started walking along that path, suddenly takes a complete change, shift, and now you don't know what your purpose is. I can see a few people nodding. So you at this crossroads, and we get to the crossroads because there's a powerful new purpose coming for us, which is probably an extension of the old purpose, but it's different because part of our soul's path is always, and human path as well, is always to evolve and change. Because life is change. See? Life is change. So there's not many people that can live their whole life doing the same old thing for 40, 50, 60 years. They might have in the past, but today's world requires flexibility. Today's world is all about change. So we cannot rest on our laurels. Do you know that word that it's saying? Cannot rest on our laurels, which means do the same old thing, the same old way forever. We have to consistently change. We have to consistently create new ways. We have to consistently integrate the old and move to the new. Now, also on a human level, this comes with its own set of frustrations and challenges because we all have to earn money, usually, to support our life in the world. And when our soul brings a period of change to us, it isn't nice. It's scary, it's stressful, and we don't know what to do. So this is what spirits say about it, this process. Because everybody goes through this process, and if you are meant to be serving here on the planet, You will go through this process probably more than once in your life. It's like this constant stage of evolution, of life, of work, of who we are, because we can't stay stuck. We can't do what we've come to do if we stay stuck. So this is about helping us. Be more flexible, really. Go with the flow. Trust. Trust that we're going to be taken care of and that all is well, really, even though it might not look like it right now. It's flexibility.
Shlaka said, Belaka said, Belaka said, Alabagana Bedishtan, Belaka said, Amalaso, Labana said, Stad, but exact Kodia. Akalaka said, the Sta, Alabadishtad, the Belakadis city, Alabadistas, the Kiss city, Akolokotis said, Sabadakta. Amadashton la casa de ki madassa, a la casa de badessa de city, a la coche de son de ki, Macala kissa de bedexia, a medissa de bedesia, a la bedissa de bedesia, a la bedissa de bedgurusol glassa, stiaka, a cookie sati, city.
Take a deep breath. Go with the flow. Trust and allow. Know that all is well. And there's a much more beautiful plan out there for us than we could ever conceive with our mental mind. Everybody who's here and everybody who's listening has a powerful path of purpose that is unfolding here. We are all souls coming together in a oneness vibration around the planet for a reason. And remember, this reason is not really about to show itself yet because it only is beginning really fully with any force in 2020. So it's 2020 to 2033 is this powerful wave of ascension and acceleration for all of us when we will be programmed and supported in stepping into our purpose more. Last weekend in London, there was all this information that came through on the Sunday about Tara. And there was a meditation about going back to life on Tara, which you can listen to. So when I got back to where we were staying, I listened to that meditation and it brought such emotion up in me. Real emotion that I didn't even know was there, like deep, deep sadness. And then I had several days of not feeling well physically because what I now understand happened is it started to release all the karmic trauma from that lifetime when I think I'd tried to stop what was happening on Tara and I couldn't. And some of you might also be in that boat, I'm sure you are. So there's a great sadness about that because it was like the beginning of the end really for planet Earth, planet became planet Earth, and how were we ever going to bring the light back? How were we ever going to redeem Earth? It's one of the reasons why we took on the human DNA, of course, so we could come back here with a potential to actually be able to do something about it. Because the beings on Tara at that time, they couldn't, you see. They didn't have what it took. And it wasn't that they didn't want to, it's just that they didn't have what it took to be able to do it. Now we do have what it takes because we have this incredibly wonderful human DNA code, which is just starting to be fully activated, and particularly over the next 13 years. So we'll just hold on to our seats and see what happens because we don't really know. We only know what we know right now. We only know what we know because of our experience in the past, but we don't know what we know because we don't know what's coming. We feel there's something pretty majorly coming, and I'm told that something pretty powerful is coming. So going back to my little story, so I felt pretty lousy really the last few days, and I got really anxious about coming along here today to Copenhagen, and particularly as we were going to live stream this around the world, because I didn't feel good and I didn't know how I could do it. But what I now see is that what happened in London and the releasing of the Tara energy in me has allowed me to, I feel, bring through different languaging and different energies more powerfully, probably, than I might have been able to before, because this energy from Tara, this trauma energy, was like the energy ball and chain, the time locks that were preventing. Like the shackles have to fall off in all of us, you see. The shackles are the karmic energy trauma that we don't even know is there. See? So now what we're going to do is we're going to go into a whole new spectrum of energy that is coming from beyond the beyond, which is totally about advancement for everybody. It's totally about stepping into purpose in ways that we don't know right now, but they're going to tell us. So about 5 years ago, I started to receive information which I began to write into another book. And it was about beyond the beyond. And it was about the fact that we call God God, but really God is creation. And this energy of new creation is now streaming to Earth from beyond this galaxy, beyond all the 22, from the heart of the 22. It's like the heart of the infinite all, the heart of God, a more expanded God energy. That's why it's called Beyond the Beyond. So now, let's see what's in store, because I don't know, really. I'm just going to put my hand up there. So shut your eyes, or if you choose, keep them open. These energy transmissions now are about advancement. They're about activating potential that we have within our human DNA that hasn't been activated before. And remember, these potentials, these coding sequences, it's a bit like the sentences or the writing of this book of human life is being upgraded. The book is still the same, but more meaning is being given to the book, because instead of saying the cat sat on the mat, for example, it's like the grey and white cat sat on the large piece of matting by the door. See how the DNA is getting more meaning, really? Still the same DNA, still the same cat, still the same mat, still the same human, right? So now we're going to activate more of the expanded potentials.
Shloki shte se shastakasa. Shatagari shasatatabaditi. Akusha shashashadabada. A shashashadabada. A shashashadabada. Albada shashashashashashashasha. Shashadabada shashashashashasha. A shashadabada. Shashadabada. Shashashashashashashashasha.
So at its very basic level, the DNA is like words. Words are written, but the DNA code is written in only 4 letters. A for adenine, C for cytosine, T for thymine, and G for guanine. This DNA code writes this incredible human book of life, 23 chromosomes, divided into lots of different chapters that have different meanings for the creation of who we are as people, whether it's our characteristics, our behaviour, or whether it's how we appear physically and how our physical body expresses. So within the DNA script is quite a lot of coding that doesn't appear to have meaning. As I said earlier, junk DNA that doesn't have capacity at this time to express and actually be read.
Shlokishti se sabalakisida sabalakazidakada. Akalabada sabada sabada sabada. Alabadakadabadakasadabadakasabatakasabadakadi. Alabadakalabadakasadabadakasadabadakasabadakadabadaki. Alabadakalabadakastudabababitakabatka. Alabadakalabadakadabababitakabatka. Alabadakasadabadakadabadasasa. Alabadakalabadasadabadasasa. Alabadakalabadakasadabadakadabadakadabadaki. Olabadakasadabababitakabatka.
So what's coming through now is to do with awakening consciousness. But what that really means is awakening ourselves as more conscious, more expanded beings, letting go of our immediate personification, who we think we are as people, and expanding into more of a eternal soul perspective of who we are as people. So it's just giving us a more expanded viewpoint about life and who we are, which is in itself very soothing and relaxing. Okay?
Amethyst, Adabadis, 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 Alabadakudushulus, Alabadakushulabalakalabadisi, Alabalakalabadabadas, Alabalakalabadaksa, Alabalakalabadaki, Alakalabadaksadabalabadisa, Aka Kliakasatakasadabadakasa. Nakosoko sete kasada 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 da 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 da. Alabada kasada bada kalabada kasidiki. Akalabada kasada bada kasidiki kasidiki sidiki. Amalaka sada kalabada kalasada bidi sada bada babo de soto soti. Alabada shuda babo de baby de bidi bada bada kalabada kalabada ki. Alabada kalesada bada 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 kalabada sada kalabada ki. Akalek so do 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 so. And remember, when you get shifted, when we get shifted in our consciousness, when we open to these energies, we will automatically start to step into what we're meant to be doing. So you might be a healer or you might be a channel, and you will notice over the next few weeks or months that things start to shift and change for you, where you start doing work differently. New ideas might flood into your head. People might report back to you, if you're working with people, different reactions that they experience, because your capacity as a channel, as a conduit, is going to be opened up really quickly, you see, for what you're meant to be doing. It's all about us doing what we're each individually meant to be doing more quickly. Akala kaze de kaze de ka, I said the key. Ala kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de key. Ala kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de key. Ala kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de key. Akuliki se da kaze la kaze da kaze da da kaze de key. Akalapati said about the kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de key. Alabada kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de key. Alabada kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de key. Alabada kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de ka. Alabada kaze de kaze de kaze de kaze de ka. And Makoloxi Sabadakiaka. Akakakadabadakakakadabadakadabadakakakadabadakadabadaki. Akakatabadakadabadakasadaki. Akalakasadakadesi. How do we step into being way showers? How do we? I'm just asking that question. I'm not really expecting an answer because they're going to tell me now. How do we? So the question is, how do we step into being way showers? In spirit, they're laughing, I can see. And they're saying, first get out of your own way. First get out of your own way and trust the process. You are all way showers, and you will be shown the way. Otherwise, you can't be way showers. Okay? Trust the process. Everybody here and everybody listening in different countries
We are way showers and we will be shown the way. And all that is required is that we trust, that we get out of our own inhibiting way, that we step out and take action when our heart prompts us. Like Greg today from Berlin, who stepped out and came here to Copenhagen, quite a distance, because he felt in his heart that he should come. So you see, when we get out of our own way and we start to attune to the heart's guidance, and this manifestation exercise that I gave you will help a lot in attuning to the heart's guidance, because we start to practice feeling, you see, feeling and not thinking from the head. And that's a skill that we have to practice. So it's really good to start feeling, and trusting it. The more we practice it, just like learning to play the piano or doing anything, water skiing, the more we practice it, the better we get. And the more easy it is to discern when it's our head saying something and when it's our heart saying something. So it's just a matter of learning discernment. And when I started to channel 22 years ago, I had to practice with Balthazar, my guide, my first ever spiritual guide. Virtually every day I practiced for about 10 minutes. And after the end of that year, I knew exactly, I could discern what was being said to me from spirit and what I was making up, which was hardly anything by then. But you can tell, you see, whether it's you or whether it's spirit. But it's only the practice that gets you there, you see, and it doesn't have to be a long time, just 5 minutes a day. That's all it is, of tuning into what the heart says. Because the heart is the gateway to working with other beings from other star systems anyway. We all have the capacity to link with other benign beings of light, if you like. We can easily, because we all can do this. It's part of our birthright. It's just the practice that helps us. Also in the Ascension Library is a meditation called Through the Golden Door that you can listen to, that will help you open up to being a conduit, a channel with spirit, see? And then you can just practice, feel into it. You see, these beautiful beings, whether they're extraterrestrials or whether they're ascended masters or whether they are angelic, they are only there to help us cross to a more expanded expression of ourselves. They're there to help us cross a bridge into more of who we authentically are as people, as divine souls, as avatar humans, see? So I really don't work with any, hardly ever now, beings of light. I don't work with Balthazar anymore. I did for 2 or 3 years. Because what they're trying to do is to get us be like them. You know, they want us to stand in our power. And all they're there is to teach us. See? So they say that they want to teach us something right now. And I say, what is it? This is coming from beyond the beyond also. It's coming from this council. It's not really a council of beings because they really are a oneness energy. They're more like an energy. They're an energy that they have said to me is called El Sa'om, where El is like God, El as in Elohim, Sa is ascended, really amplified, and Om is like peace, oneness energy. So El Sa'om. So you just listen through the ears of the heart to this technique. This is a technique for overcoming challenges and obstacles that might derail us, cause us to lose our way, or cause unnecessary stress and anxiety. And so if you're feeling any of these emotions, you can use this technique. So you just begin by sitting or lying in a relaxed position and putting your left hand onto the heart chakra in the center of the chest. And it's not really working with the conscious thought that's creating the emotion. It's more working with the emotion, which is the outcome of all the conflicting and stressful thoughts that you might be having. You just tune into your heart chakra here. And now put your other hand onto what's called the core star, which is connecting to the soul. And you put your hand just below the diaphragm here and above the navel here. So you've got one hand on the heart chakra and one hand here just below the diaphragm. You're not really going to do anything with those hands. They're really there to anchor and to nurture and to direct the energy when it comes through.
Kokoleki sasamadasa. Okolapidi salabalakasa the key. Okolakasa lakasa dakazabadaka. Okati sipa papichapataka sokada.
So if you're feeling stressed at the moment, we'll see how you feel after this.
Shalakasitu sadabalakasadabalakasa. Okalabadi salabalasa labalasadi satokodasa de sidia. Okalabadi salabalasa de sidia. Okalabadi salabalasa de sidia. Okalakazidiki. Apeti sadabalasa de ki. Okalabadi sadabalakasa de ki. Okalakotisa korkalisa de sidi. Okalakasidi sidi sidi. Okalakasidi sidi sidi sidi. Akolakiyaka.
And just take a really deep, slow breath. And allow yourself to deeply relax. Imagine that you're just sinking down through the chair if you possibly can. Or if you're at home, just sink down into the chair or the bed. And just open your energy fields to this process of distillation. So I say, why distillation? Because they say it's like, when water is distilled and all the nasty stuff is taken out of the water, they're taking all the energy, like the polluting energy, out of the waters of you, literally. That's why it's called distillation.
Emidi lakaisi di kisa da la sidi 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 sidi. Aklaki saya kali sidi 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 sidi. Lakadai sidi kalaka sidi kisa di sidi sidi sidi. Akloki said the kasid the kazalaka said the kasid ki. Imiti kalasi satak says sisi. Akalakai sisi 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 sisi. Makulaka said a balosh lokushiti said a bidicasa. Okalaka la kalabala should shtosh shisasya. Amalaka said shlosh the sadabelaka said the gasbedakasisi. Amalaka said shlows at la casa the key a kaka.
There are many different way showers and types of way showing on the planet. Many people are part of this whole ascension modus operandi. Many people. And we all do different things because that's what our soul is called to do, our soul group is called to do, and what we're here for. Some people's sole purpose is to write books. Some people's sole purpose is to change consciousness and change the way society operates. Some people have a voice in politics because they want to create a new world order and a new way within communities. Some people are artists and visionaries. Some people work in media to get a message out in a new way. Some people work in their local communities to help children or parents function better, maybe differently. Some people right wrongs. Some people teach. Some people help the sick. There are many ways that we are called to be a way shower. And we usually find as we get older in life that our journey, what we've been trained to do, what we've done in this lifetime, is like little marker points, little sign points along the road to our way showing, you see. It's not so easy to see that when you're 20, but it's easy to see it when you're 50. You can see where I've come from, where I might be going, what redirection I might need to make, whether I'm happy and well, because if you're not happy and well, then you're slightly off course with the way showing, because it's really about being happy and well, you see. That's important. So at each point along our journey of way showing, we need to just have a little period of taking stock. What this means is it's good to go away on your own for a few days, where you're not going to be bothered by phones or emails, and just really feel into what your heart feels, with no timetables and no restrictions. Maybe once a year for 3 days. Do a way showing check-in for yourself. The benchmark, as I said before, is are you happy and are you well, and what needs to be changed. And it's also a very good time to do the soul purpose technique that we learnt previously during this time of aloneness. And if you can't get to that alone space, if it's just not possible for you because of family commitments or whatever, just do like a couple of hours where you can get away and do this. Maybe every 3 months. Somewhere, maybe go to the park and just sit and be. But in today's very fast-paced world, it's easy to get a bit whacked around by everything that we have to do. And time moves so quickly now. It seems to move so quickly. And a period of introspection and reflection is needed for all of us, right? Needed for all of us. And then we can gain our strength, regather our strength, and move forward again and come out again, stronger and better and more capable and more able to do what it is that we want to do in life. Otherwise, you just get a bit exhausted with it all. And then we're not as effective, are we? You know, we're not as effective. So I want you to stand up now. And even everybody who's listening at home, just stand up, and we're just going to do a little exercise. We're just going to stretch right up, put your feet flat and a little bit apart. And we're just going to sway a little bit to the side. Maybe go down and touch the floor, if you can. And up. And bring your hands up and over your shoulders. Because what happens with the energy is you get a bit stiff around the neck, do you? Yeah. And upper back. And so just really get your spine moving and really relax. And remember to drink lots of water when you get out of this room. and do something really nurturing and lovely for yourself tonight, because you probably feel quite tired, because this energy is powerful, and you just need to really relax and know that the tiredness is because there's a lot of energy change going on. You might feel really tired tomorrow as well. So just allow yourself to sleep and get out and walk a little bit and eat nice, nurturing food and relax. Okay? So now we sit down again. It was Jesus Christ who came to the planet and who said, love is the key and the way. Right? Love is the key and the way. And we generate love with the heart chakra. Love is an energy. It's an emotional energy that we feel. You know, when we fall in love, we feel that love. We feel that incredibly powerful love energy within the heart. We see the divinity and the love reflected back at us from another person. It's probably one of the most wonderful feelings of life on earth, don't you think? Love is the key and the way. Love is also the key and the way to our own evolution. When we vibrate with the love energy, which is transposed and expanded into the joy energy, it helps us walk our path of purpose so much better. And in 2013, I went to La Sainte-Baume in Provence. I'd actually been there the year before in 2012, actually on the 7th of July, the 7th month. I was told to go there at 7 a.m. on the 7th of the 7th, 2012. So there I was. And I walked through the forest of La Sainte-Baume, which actually means the Sainted Cave. And it's where Mary Magdalene is said to have lived for the 20 or 30 years following the crucifixion, when she and some of the disciples and some of the women went to Gallica, Gaul, from Galilee. And I felt Mary's energy come to me when I went there on the 7th of the 7th, 2012. And she said to me, I want you to come back next year. I want you to come back February. So this was midsummer. So in February 2013, I went back to La Sainte-Baume. And Mary said to me, she wanted to teach me about grief. She wanted to teach me that grief actually opens the heart and actually allows more love in many cases. Some of you might have experienced that, where you might have been through major grief in your life, which at the time seems really unfair and tragic. But from it, looking back, you may also see that you have become a much more well-rounded, compassionate, kind, loving person with a much bigger heart, much more open heart than before. Okay? And when Mary said that to me about your heart is to be open into grief, I got a bit of a shock because I didn't know what she meant. As it happened, I was only 9 days there and my father suddenly died of a heart attack. And I had to go very quickly back to New Zealand. So I expected to be there for 3 weeks. But what happened there on the mountain is that every day it was snow-covered. I would walk on the mountain. It was so icy, I only got to the cave twice because it was such an icy path. And all the 150 steps up to the cave chapel were iced over. So it was a bit of a skating rink, really, to get up there. So I only got up there once, but I used to walk in the forest of La Sainte-Baume, and Mary would talk to me. And then I would go into the little cafe, and I'd sit by the roaring fire and I'd drink hot chocolate, and I had an exercise book, and I would telepathically receive information and I'd write it all down. And from that was born the transcripts of Mary Magdalene, which is in the Ascension Library that you can all access and listen to. So the transcripts are all about balancing the love energy within the heart so you can actually expand through that energy into joy. Because the joy vibration, when it is vibrating in the cells of our body, the trillions of cells in our body, is probably the key thing that we can do to propel ourselves quickly along this ascension path, which is also about activating purpose and potential. See, it's the joy energy, more expanded than the love energy. Because Mary was a way shower too. She and Yeshua, Jesus, taught the way. They taught that the way was through love. Mary taught the way. When she went to Gaul, she taught the way. We are now also teachers of the way. And the beginning passage of teaching the way is through love, kindness and love and compassion to ourselves first, and kindness and love and compassion to others second. So these are transmissions from the way. Kokaliki kasaj nisimatia. Okoloko sesa visto sokudisia. Amala kusole sto sesa madash to kosisia. Imile kosi la kaziri sti sesa mitiga selaga selagola sto so saksia. Amala kasetokia. Amala kasetukai senamedekolaka. Amala kasetibede lo sokudia. Igli kasi de salvala kasi de bade solo koda sokti mad sokola kasi igli kasa jenisin malako simati akko kliki sade salaka salaba de stas sokodia akala kai zada kaza de ki iki zedi ki zada kaza de kaza de ki akala kaza de kaza de kaza de ki zedi ki Ukulaki kalakazi de ki sedakazi de kazi de ki. Akakalaka kalaki sedakazi de kazi de ki. Uklikisi kosako lekasako si kosako si. Ukalakazi de ki kakasi de kasafa de kasi de ka. Malakoju de ki sedakazi de ki. Alapadi sadaka. Imikalaka sedakazi de belakushu de so to stiasi. Amalakash to cosisi, Matekalakasi, tikis, the keys, the keys, the keys, the keys, the keys, the key. Mary speaking to us now with compassion. She went through a lot too. She understands what it's like. She understands the human condition. Kushilaki la balishta sokodi. Akalaki said a bit salabalaka soglessa. Alabalaka sabalaka sabatixa. Alabalaka sabalaka salabalaki. Alabalaka solabalaki sadabalaki. Alabalaka salabalaki and marishto. Alabalaka solabalaki. Ilakalisa doublation nesata kalasa. Allah kalida da da koda da kada koda da koda koda da kaz 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 da ka ugly kazada malakal shul malakal risa ala malakal barisa ala malakisa da si ala kala sokolia kisa si 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 si. Love is the key and the way to everything that we want to create. Love flows when we open our heart and we listen to the voice of the heart. Love flows when we get out of our own way and we trust the process, the divinely orchestrated process that is opening up here on planet Earth. Love flows when we stand in our truth and we know who it is that we are. We know that we are worthy, as every soul is worthy. Mukulakishti sesabediksa. Ogolakalti seresalakala serabedishta sukutamatia. Okolakisi. Okolakisi, the pedashta sabalakas, the keys, the key. Alabanakalabedic sadabalakas, sadabakisi. Amalakisi, There is so much ahead for us as way showers. Those who show the way. So many different ways we show the way. And we are united as one global people of light upon the earth.
Ala kasi de kisi de kasi de kasi de kasi de kasi de kisi de si 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 si.
Mattia, Mattia, Mattia. You are loved. You are blessed. And so it is.